Welcome back, everyone. We're back with the Aspect of Gaming podcast, up to number 4 now, and the guests just keep on getting better. On the show from Aspect of Gaming today are myself, Theo, the lead coordinator of Aspect of Gaming, Kier, our events admin, and Kevin, the master of Dota 2 esports. How's it going?
Hey man, what's up?
Oh, it's happening indeed. Our guest for the show today comes from one of the landing powerhouses up here in Auckland, New Zealand, AuckLAN, and he's the man with the plan behind much of AuckLAN itself, Alex Grant, the co-founder and marketing PR head. How are you?
Fantastic. Really glad to be here.
Awesome. So let's just kick straight into it. What's the history of AuckLAN and how did it all come together?
Well, I started landing around 6 years ago. I've been to a bunch of LANs, different sizes, small, large, both Auckland and Wellington. And I was running a small LAN for a gaming community for Dave Defeat Source, which was what I was heavily into. And I met Dan, my right-hand man, who everyone knows as Rudy Tooty. And he was helping me run the small LAN in a LAN studio. We decided we'd start running our own LANs under the name of AuckLAN. We ran a few successful ones. They just kept getting bigger each time. Finally, we sort of hit our last venue, hit its capacity, and we started to have a few power issues. It was just too many people. So we decided to move to North Harbour Stadium, and this is our first one there.
Awesome. So what made you want to start it all and get into gaming? Is just going to LANs yourself, just little LANs, and you wanted to sort of make it bigger and grow it all together, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I just loved the vibe, all the people really open. It's just really nice to like meet the people that, normally you play against sort of keyboard warriors, people online who are just like, they hide behind their screens and they're not sort of as sociable or as fun as the people who are prepared to turn up to a LAN. I just really enjoyed the company of those sort of people. I enjoyed gaming in like an environment like that where you can actually feel the heat of the games, as it were. And just, the competitive side, the social side, all of it, just love it.
Yeah, the vibe of it is so different from gaming alone at your place or just gaming on Skype or something with your mates. It's really something that you just got to experience. You just got to get out there and try it. And just speaking of that, we've got AuckLAN 6 coming up. Fill us out for everything that's going on with AuckLAN 6.
So as I said, we've decided to go to North Harbour Stadium. We want to take a big step up. And start and continue increasing our numbers. It is a big step. So I think we've got a lot of pushing, a lot of work to do to keep growing and get to the scale we're after. But some details about AuckLAN 6 for you. So we've got 180 seats. It's at North Harbour Stadium. It's next weekend, May 16th to 18th. We've got high-speed internet provided by Mickey Pro, a high-speed network provided by Netgear. 24-hour access, as every LAN should be, from 6 p.m. Friday to midday Sunday. There's a bar open in the evenings. This is also the first event we've opened up to consoles too. We dabbled in it last time with a small team of guys playing some online games, but this time it's free for all. All consoles are welcome. We've actually got a massive host of tournaments this time, 20 tournaments in total. So I've got a list here just because I can't even remember them all off the top of my head. Yeah. It's just that many. And we've managed to drag in some awesome communities such as yourselves, Aspect of Gaming, Battle Ops, Standing Fierce, LolNet, NZGN, and Roadkill. They're all going to be running tournaments of their specific types of games that they do most.
Yeah, I'm actually looking really forward to meeting all of those guys and just seeing what they do and bringing that community together is something that's making this LAN different from all the others out there. It's got all the communities involved in it. Yeah,
I'm really excited about it too, and I just want to keep building on this. I hope future LANs we can get even more communities involved. We're all in this together. We should all be there. We should all be doing what we can.
Definitely, and that actually brings me on really nicely to my next question: is where do you see AuckLAN going for the future, and what's all in it for this? Like, what's the goal? What's the long term?
Well, I'll tell you one thing: we're certainly not doing it for the money, because there isn't any money in running a LAN.
Yeah.
As anyone who's run one will tell you, I'm sure. No, we're in it because we all love gaming. We all love the LAN scene, but we've sort of seen it is dying off a little bit in both online and LAN scene. It's just kind of, we just want to keep it going. We want to keep breathing life into it. We want to build it up so we get a good, solid following, good attendances, get bigger and bigger, sky's the limit, really. Like, if you get enough people, we can push to an even bigger venue and just keep going bigger and bigger.
Yeah, sticking it directly and smacking a stadium. Just everyone.
Yeah, wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be awesome.
So ultimately, the bigger we go, the more prizes we can get, the better sponsors we can attract. Although I'd be amazed if I can get much better than what I got this time. More tournaments, more games. We just want to accommodate everyone so that we can all come together for one big gaming session and just have a ball.
Hell yeah, I've got to say, $8,000 in prizes is pretty nuts. It's bigger than anything that I've seen so far in New Zealand, for LANing, anyway.
Yeah, it's huge. I was pretty blown away by some of the sponsors. I mean, they just put in everything they had, and they've just been awesome. I can't thank them enough. And that figure, actually, it's probably more than that, because we've also got a whole stack of Red Bull that they've thrown at us. Steel Series actually sent through a little bit of some extra tidbits in their prize packs as well. And the Battle Ops guys who are running the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 competitions, they haven't actually announced what their prizes are going to be yet, so that's on top of the 8,000. So I think we're probably getting closer to 9.
Oh my god, that is crazy. So are any of those going to be like spot prizes? People just going to be chucking things out at any time, or all of it's tournament stuff?
So the 8,000 value was calculated on pretty much all tournament prizes, but that didn't include the Red Bull, which we've been given, and Steel Series have pitched in a few other things. There's still other things on the go, which I'm not going to give too much away, but we might have some last minute sponsorship or something like that, who might add in a little bit extra too, and those will be spot prizes, I would imagine, or otherwise if we have a big attendance in one tournament and it seems a little bit underpriced, we'll just top it up.
Nice, not a problem. All right, so by the way, just if you're here for questions or anything, if you want to ask those to the guest, you'll have to do so in the Twitch chat, and for that you'll need to log in and then reload the page and then jump into Twitch chat. We'll be asking them at the very end of the chat, so just hold tight and bring in the questions. Kia, you're up for the next question, buddy.
Right, man. I just got cut off on that call. Is that right?
Little bit.
Yeah. Basically, it's all about marketing. How do you push your sponsors, and how do you get the most out of the sponsors, advertising for them to ensure that they come back again, they want to work with you guys, as well as how do you guys market yourselves to the patrons? How do you get these guys in? What do you use?
Absolutely. Those are awesome questions. They kind of overlap, but they're also kind of separate questions, but I'll see how I can tackle them for you. So for this time round, we've actually managed to secure Pariah Esport. I don't know if you've seen their work before, but they do some fantastic photography and video editing, etc. They're going to make it look really professional, and that's going to give us some tools to give to our sponsors that they can use in their marketing, media, social media channels. So I really think that that's going to help us as a set of tools. The other thing, of course, we always photograph all our prize giving, so that should give our sponsors something that they can show on their Facebook groups, etc. Like look at this tournament, look how much we threw at it, and look at the happy faces of the people taking away our prizes. Also, in the case of PB Tech, who we've got on board, their prizes are vouchers, so that's going to get people in their stores. It's going to basically, if we just want to get their name out there as much as possible, hoping that some of them are going to provide some banners we can chuck up for them, that sort of thing. It is, when you're looking at a prize pool of $8,000, I can tell you it's really daunting to think, how am I going to make that the equivalent of that in coverage and marketing for them. And it's a big task, and it keeps me up at night.
But that $8,000 prize pool, now that's huge as well, isn't it? So that's pretty cool. Somewhat, a lot of people are guaranteed a good slice of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, some people have sort of said maybe that the ticket sales haven't been that great, and is it going to go ahead? It's definitely going to go ahead. And if I were you, I'd be looking at it that if not many people turn up, then you're going to walk away with more prizes. So. But just moving on to the other part of your question, Kier, you asked how we're going to keep our sales and promotion going. Probably actually left it a little bit late this time, just due to a few factors that we needed to get into place before we could actually start promoting. But definitely lesson learned. So future ones will be promoting a lot earlier, giving everyone a lot more heads up. But the channels we use currently are mostly Facebook and forums. We've approached a few blogs and websites and asked them to put up some news articles too. Obviously this podcast, that sort of thing, interviews with people. Also probably going to be starting up a Twitter account for future events. Something I personally haven't really dabbled in, but it's becoming quite a powerhouse, so going to have to do that. And started doing some flyers and that sort of thing. Well, there goes my text message. Started doing some flyers and that sort of thing as well, and posters. Possibly, depending on how I get on, might be able to get on the radio and give away a couple of tickets too, to get some more interest going. So there's quite a few different avenues for marketing. It does help to have time to do it though.
It's a real time sink, isn't it? And that's the big thing, is you got to keep at it.
Yeah, I think another aspect to it as well is we had Ping Zero just the other week, and I'm a big supporter of Ping Zero. It was the first LAN I went to, and Havoc's a great guy. He's quite a supporter of us too. You know, he helps us out when we need it. And neither of us want to step on each other's toes, so it's kind of silly for us to be promoting at the same time. For me to, you know, start promoting while he's still promoting his stuff. So that's something to consider as well.
That's the chivalry of New Zealand. That's where it's at.
Yeah, exactly. We're all in this together. There's room for as many LANs as we can fit weekends. So, you know, let's help each other out. Let's not stand on each other's toes.
Every weekend LANs. That'd just be nuts. But hey, it's the dream. It's the dream.
Hey, I'd be there.
Awesome. Kevin, I hear you got a question yourself.
So, Alex, you mentioned that you've been around the LAN scene for a good, 6 or so years now. So, obviously, you've been to a lot of LANs in that time. I've been to a fair few LANs in that time as well. What's your take, with that experience, on the current LAN scene of Auckland or New Zealand, and how does AuckLAN sort of fit into that?
That's a fantastic question. You guys are full of great questions. I think basically, I mean, we saw some really good LANs, some really big scale, sort of well-run LANs in the past. The original LAN was a real powerhouse. I mean, I think when that kind of dropped off, that was the start of the LAN scene's decline since then. A lot of people loved that, you know, and it didn't quite pan out the way that everyone was used to it. And then you had Auckmageddon kind of came back into the foray, and they had some awesome events at North Harbour Stadium too. Thoroughly enjoyed them. Ping Zero's been around for ages. They're up to event 45 now, which is just insane. I think he's stepping up to the level, you know, essentially we've had these sort of smaller LANs that have managed to keep going, but some of the bigger LANs have dropped off, and I really think there's a hole there that needs to be filled. Havoc stepping up his, and that's what we're trying to do as well. We want to get into that, you know, that over 100 people size LAN with professional sponsors, professional tournaments, etc.
And we've had, you know, the potential is there. Obviously, you mentioned LAN, and you know, I went to the last few LANs before they stopped, and they were getting, I think at the peak, you know, they were getting upwards of 900 people going. So, you know, do you see a possibility of those kind of numbers ever returning?
I'd say we've got a hard grind ahead of us to get to that. In my perspective, I'll never say die. I'll always keep pushing, and the sky's the limit. You know, even if we get to 900, I'd probably still keep trying to push it and make it even bigger. 900 is an incredible figure, though, for New Zealand. For Auckland. And it's they really set the bar really high. It's a lot to work towards, but that is the dream. That's the goal, sort of thing. We want to get massive. We want to have that sort of scene happening again. Just everyone just pouring out in their masses to be there because they just love it.
What does it take to get that kind of a number, though? What do you need from a LAN to really get there?
I wouldn't even know, to be honest. Like it's such a big number. I think the only people that would know that are the people that ran LAN at that level. Having said that, the way I see towards getting anywhere near that is, you know, having successful events, having good sponsors, good prize pools, giving people the experience that they're going to walk away and tell their friends and say, wow, that was like an awesome weekend. You really should come to the next one. just word of mouth is king. Feedback, just keeping it regular as well. You can't really afford to drop off. If you drop off for a year, people forget about you. You lose your momentum. It's a hard road. I'm not going to pretend that I have a master plan to get us to 900. The plan for me basically is just to keep pushing in absolutely every area I can, keep improving everything, take on the feedback that people give, and work towards making the next one better.
There are just so many good points in that. I mean, there's so much that has caused a lull in the landing scene in the past year and a half or so. But there's so many people building up the LAN scene now. It's really exciting to see. I don't know too much about the older LAN scene. Like, were they pushing it particularly hard in the early days?
The big ones were, like AuckLAN and AuckMageddon. They were really pushing their stuff, and you know, that's why they sort of got the big numbers, and that's why they had the awesome venues. I think there were a lot of sort of medium-sized or small LANs that were really content. They had a good following of, you know, the capacity of their venues, and they just were happy to keep those venues, keep cranking that out. It's only really now that Ping Zero is starting to ramp up, you know, and I used to go to their events at Hobson Bull, and they were awesome, and I can see why they kept them the way they did, but kudos to them for taking it bigger as well. It's got to happen. Like, something's got to fill those gaps of the really big LANs, the ones that, because there are some people that, you know, only go to one LAN a year, and they'll want to go to a big LAN, and if that LAN's not there, they probably won't go to any LAN.
Do you think it might be like possibly because obviously this is a lot of time has passed, many years have gone. Do you think possibly you know, people have kind of grown out of it, maybe they've gotten a bit older, or the new scene of younger people aren't quite as keen for it, if you know, the age group might be a factor?
Yeah, definitely. I think that we have lost a lot of traction with the LAN scene because it kind of died and nothing came in sort of quick enough, and so in a real sense, it seems to me like the entire LAN scene is trying to not just rebuild, but actually kind of start again from scratch. So I think that age group is quite relevant too. As you say, you know, there was a big group of people then, but what we're also seeing a lot of at LANs is older gamers, and I'm not going to put an age on it because I don't want to make anyone feel old, but
Yeah.
you know, it's not just teenagers, it's not just sort of students, etc. There's older gamers that consistently come. There's clans that really enjoy meeting up and have been together for years. But in a very real sense, there are also a new generation of people coming through, and they're not used to LANing maybe as much. So yeah, it is a different mindset that we've got to kind of, I guess, not educate, but we want to show them what LANing is. And I'm convinced that if they see it in the form that we saw it, you know, 6-10 years ago, they're going to think, wow, I can really enjoy this, and this is for me as well.
Hell yeah! I mean, I feel like there's an aging population sort of situation here. Like, but before let me start from scratch. The people who were joining the landing scene earlier, a couple of years ago, were have now at this present day grown up or started going on to their own things, and they haven't been, as you said, connected to the land scene enough because there hasn't been enough big things happening in the past couple of years. But well, decently huge things to keep people interested, all of the small things that keep people interested between it. But I think we've got what Kevin says is just that smaller age group that aren't able to come to these 18 plus LANs, and they're trying to make their own little LANs or get a feel for the landing scene, and I think they're going to grow up, they're going to find you guys waiting for them. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I know people who have been gaming for like 5 years, wanting to go to LANs for that 5 years, and they're still not 18 now. A really good example, actually, is our ticketing and website guy. He's, I can't remember, he's 16 or 17. And ever since we started doing LANs, he's wanted to come, but he's never been able to because of the age limit. We're letting him come this time because basically I'm going to be his legal guardian for the weekend.
Nice.
And also he's going to be on the door most of the time. But I definitely hear what you're saying. And it's kind of, I really feel for that age group. Like, some of them really want it, and they just can't because of the age thing. But then at the same time, you've got the older age group who they like to be able to have a drink at a LAN, be it BYO or bar. That, you know, they like to be able to have it's just that social aspect. If it's a clan meeting, from around the country, and they only meet once a year, of course they're going to want to have a couple of drinks together and laugh about, who shot their mate in the head during a match or whatever.
The cute stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's really hard to accommodate both. That the people that want to be able to have a drink and the under 18s. That's always going to be the case, just due to the laws, obviously. But yeah, I think some of those younger gamers just have to be patient and don't lose hope, don't lose faith, and keep it in your mind and do come. But hopefully, maybe at some point we can figure out, when we get to a big enough scale, a separate room for them where they can do their stuff. They can still be part of our LAN. They're still connected, but they're just in a separate room where the alcohol's kept separate from them. And another really good thing that is possible as well is if the parents are prepared to support them enough to actually go along and stay with them the whole time. In those circumstances, we can let people in who are under 18.
Yeah, you've already let one or two in those conditions, so it's already working.
Yeah, exactly. It's a case-by-case basis, and we have to be absolutely convinced that the parent's going to be there the whole time. That'll be policed on the door, and we'll be checking in on them throughout the whole event. Just because the repercussions on the sort of licensing side of things is quite severe. But that is, it's possible. And if a kid's that good at gaming that he thinks he's got a good shot at those prizes, his parents should be behind him, and they should be there supporting him, and they should be holding his hand. It's no different to a soccer game or soccer practice or a tournament.
Hell yeah. But hey, for the future, like, I don't know, I'd love to see some under 18 LANs going on. Maybe just really small scale things, feel out the scene. Maybe that's something that we need to build up the scene to go into landing further when they're in that older age group. You never really know what's going to happen with technology in the next 5-10 years. I mean, it might just wipe landing possibilities off the face of the earth entirely, which would be sad.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen a decline in games with dedicated servers. They more and more require internet connections. Maybe that's the start of it. I think what you're saying is a fantastic idea. I'm all for it. Let's help the younger guys get the feel for landing as well. It's going to help the LAN scene in general. Add it to your list there and hit me up afterwards. We'll sort something out.
I do have to say, if I do remember correctly, XLAN was R16, was it? So there was a little bit more leeway for XLAN, I believe. Yeah, that's true. And they didn't quite have the drinking side of things. Like you couldn't BYO, and they didn't have a bar either. And I think for a lot of people that was all right, because they smashed it on every other front. They had amazing prizes, amazing tournaments, amazing sponsors, etc. Really good format, good venue, good organisation, and I guess they weren't as regular as well. I think they were yearly. So people were prepared to forgo one weekend of a couple of drinks with their mates if it meant that they could go to such a quality event. But we're really keen to try to accommodate all of it. I don't know, maybe I'm overly ambitious, but I just want to supply everything that people want. Every single piece of feedback I want to take into account and provide. I want to meet every expectation.
Definitely. All right. Just a little viewer chat question that came in before from Black Sheep NZ. It's a question directed at you, Alex. Who's your favourite crew member from AuckLAN? Who do you favouritize?
Just to explain something to you.
Who is Black Sheep?
He is our ticketing and website guy.
Yeah.
I think he wants me to say him. I'm not going to say who's my favourite. Why would I do that?
Why would you do that? That'd just be cruel. I mean,
just tell everyone that you look in the mirror and see the greatest AuckLAN guy all the time.
There it is, right there.
There it is.
Yeah, yes. Everyone, I'm pretty awesome, and that's it.
No, but while we are on this topic, I do want to thank all three of my crew. Dan's been with me since the start. We've had some tough times if you look at some of the power issues we had last time. We've been through a lot. We've pushed each time to improve. We've worked on our stuff, and he's just been there from the start. We've never actually broke even on any of our lanes. We've pretty much made a loss on every single one. Dan and I have shouldered that cost together, and he's just been fantastic. On top of that, we now, since the last LAN, we recruited William, who was doing our website for ages anyway. He was technically staff, but he wasn't actually recognised as such, and that's Black Sheep. And he's just fantastic. He helped me with all this promotion stuff at the last minute, doing design, and that's not even his area. He does website and ticketing, and I've got him doing graphic design. He just throws everything he's got into it. He's just fantastic. And Tyson's the same. Roadkill, he's networking and server admin. It's just incredible, the effort that these guys put in, the passion that they have, and they're the sort of people that I want on my crew. They're the people that have the same mentality, that we just want to make this LAN scene work. We want to build this up. We want to get it to where we want it, and we're prepared to do what it takes.
Yeah, it's really hard to find a dedicated crew, and that's really the difference between the two different people that can come in and help, is that you get a lot of people going in and saying, oh, we want this, we want that, why is it 18 years, why can't I come, I'm 16 or something. This is a good example of what you can do. You have to be motivated to do it, but you can go in and help LANs that are currently running, or you can just set up your own. It's about that motivation. Oh my god! It's about that motivation and that drive. And if we see that a lot more from a lot more gamers in the NZ scene in general, then a lot more is going to rise up. A lot more people are going to be. A lot more sponsors are going to get more interested in these things. We're going to get a lot bigger venues. It just all scales up based on how devoted the NZ gaming scene is to itself.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, these sponsors want to see reliable people that they're dealing with, people that are going to answer all the time, are going to be there, are going to make sure things work, and I just think that commitment does really matter.
Hell yeah. All right. That's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for coming on, Alex, and talking to us about AuckLAN.
No problem, Gus. And make sure you check out our website and have a look at that massive list of tournaments and prizes.
It's insane. And just a reminder, we are running 3 of those tournaments, so if you want to come down and meet some of the Aspect of Gaming crew, I'm going to be there, Kevin's going to be there, we're also going to have Victor over there for the StarCraft 2 tournament. Kier's not going to be there, aren't you, Kier?
No, I've got a
Bastards.
massive event on this weekend, Ingress related, of course.
That
And,
English stuff, yeah.
It's an international event, so it's happening in Auckland, New Zealand. So that's going to be pretty cool.
That's going to be up as well. But AuckLAN taking the main stage. Go away, Kier. Don't let
Exactly.
me.
I'm
Anyway,
sorry.
that has been it for Aspect of Gaming podcast number 4 with AuckLAN. Go check out AuckLAN 6, and have a great day.
Thanks a lot, guys. It's been awesome being on your show.
See you, everyone. Have an awesome time at Auckland. Wish I could go.